Good evening. Our top story tonight, week 6 is officially underway. Thursday night football is in the books, and it was awful. It was boring, and that's because the Denver Broncos are just a bad football team. And like the bad football team they are, they're going to start selling some assets. Jerry Jeudy gonna be on the move. We'll see who else gets traded from the Denver Broncos. We've got other rumored trade candidates swirling around, rumors that we are hearing and more. We've got a full breakdown of week 6 and all of the injuries on Player Profiler Today. We'll start things off quickly with the fun part of Thursday Night Football, and that is Travis Kelce. Now, hopefully football fans are satisfied. There wasn't a whole lot of Taylor Swift shown. Obviously, there was some, but not over the top. So hopefully y'all can calm down about it. But Travis Kelce, an elite day, a game we didn't even know if he was going to play. But obviously, as soon as Travis Kelce, it's announced he's active, he is in your lineup. And this is why, questionable with a low ankle sprain, catches all 9 of his targets, 124 yards. And if this game was close at all, even a little close, Travis Kelce has the best game of his career. The Broncos had no answers for him. And we saw a pretty good game from Rashee Rice. The breakout is happening. A career high 52% of the routes run this week. His average so far has been 31%. So over 20% boost in Rashee Rice's playing time on passing downs. Catches all 4 of his targets for 72 yards. Once again, Rashee Rice finishes in the top 2 in targets on the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers. He is out-targeted by Kadarius Toney, but Rashee Rice is simply better than Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney has a touchdown, 3 receptions on 5 targets for just 9 yards, whereas Rashee Rice catches all 4 of his for 72 yards. The explosive ability of Rashee Rice is too much to deny. The cat might be out of the bag. Hopefully you listened and you picked him up well before now, but thanks to not scoring a touchdown, maybe, just maybe, he's still going to be out there for you to pick up off of waivers. And good news for Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco is just a full workhorse back. 6 targets for Isaiah Pacheco. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we have been waiting for, to see him take a step forward in the receiving game. So 6 points alone on his receptions. Well done, Isaiah Pacheco. And now for the not fun part of Thursday Night Football, and that was the Denver Broncos. And we can start on the good side for the Denver Broncos, at least, which is Jaleel McLaughlin. He's still pretty fun. Jaleel McLaughlin leads the Broncos in snaps, leads the Broncos in routes run. He has 1 fewer touch than we see Javonte Williams, 10 touches for Javonte, who looks pretty good in his return, though obviously they were easing him back in. And Jaleel McLaughlin, 9 touches for him. Samaje Perine is the one who sees his play time cut. And speaking of being cut, the Denver Broncos they cut Frank Clark. We saw that he took a pay cut the day before, trying to facilitate a trade to another team, and it doesn't work out. Frank Clark is released by the Denver Broncos. Was making $5.5 million, takes the pay cut down to $3.5 million, and now he's just outright cut. Broncos save just under $2 million in cap space, but he wasn't going to play for them. They've got Nick Bonito. They've got Baron Browning. They've got Jonathan Cooper. The Broncos have young edge defenders, and this is why they didn't need Randy Gregory either. And so he is cut just 36 snaps into his contract, a $5.5 million deal. So he's gone. Russell Wilson will be gone next year. Russell Wilson, no way that the Denver Broncos keep him around, just the performance that he's had. And Russ, before last night, Russ had been playing pretty good, but the games hadn't been close. Russ wasn't the problem, but he also wasn't the answer. And last night, 95 yards passing, 2 interceptions. Yeah, Russ was a big part of the problem, as was Jerry Jeudy. But before we get into Jerry Jeudy, what's going on between him and Steve Smith and the trade market, we've got a word from the Podfather.
Hey, so many ask me, what's wrong with sportsbooks? Why so many of them fail? The answer is simple. They don't innovate. They're just casino sportsbooks on a phone. That's all they've been. There are a few that are doing a good job. We partner with them. Most of them, not so much. until Bet Openly came along. Bet Openly said, hey, we're going to innovate. We're going to do something groundbreaking. We're going to have peer-to-peer betting in all states, and you pay 1%. When you win, you pay just 1% on your winnings. You heard that right. It's 1%. With code Underworld, you qualify for just that 1% transaction fee on Bet Openly. It gives you ultimate flexibility to set your own lines and browse lines that others have set. Think about it. That's what betting should be. And now that is the reality. BetOpenly.com. The code is Underworld. Check it out. DFS getting harder every year, but we're here to make it easier with the DFS Dominator, because I know a lot of optimizers keep coming out. Oh, our optimizer. What about this optimizer? But that optimizer. Well, we have a cash game optimizer that leverages the projections from Dario, Billy, the award-winning projections at PlayerProfiler.com, and builds the best lineups for cash games that have both upside and stability, because that's what you want. It's a couple clicks, boom, boom, boom. You get the best possible lineup for your cash games. But for tournaments, traditional optimizers don't work. That's why we have a Lineup Genius, which takes you through the process of building lineups the way they should be built. Which quarterbacks do you want to be overweight on, then building stacks, then setting runbacks, then optimizing, and generating up to 150 lineups that you can easily import into DraftKings, into FanDuel. That's the DFS Dominator. It's only $45 a year, not a week, a year. Just go to Player Profiler, click on the DFS Dominator from the menu, and you won't be sorry.
Will not be sorry if you get the DFS Dominator, but the Broncos are a sorry-looking team, and Jerry Jeudy has a sorry-looking performance last night. 4 targets, catches 3 of them, 14 yards, and this comes out after he's called out by Steve Smith. Steve Smith talking about in the pregame, Jerry Jeudy says that he doesn't F with Steve Smith. He doesn't mess with Steve Smith after some comments from Steve Smith talking about how Jerry Jeudy has not performed. Jerry Jeudy is bitter. He is holding a grudge. And Steve Smith tries to play the innocent one. Oh, well, I would never do that. Except Steve Smith, we all know here at Player Profiler, the grudges that he holds. But we're not going to talk about that. Even if Steve Smith believes that Jerry Jeudy is unable to mentally handle criticism. Ooh, a dagger, an absolute dagger, pot calling the kettle, whatever. Jerry Jeudy is going to be on the move. He will not be playing for the Denver Broncos. I don't know where he will end up, but the Colts have called about Jerry Jeudy. We do have that one confirmed. We don't have confirmation that the Carolina Panthers have called about Jerry Jeudy, but we know that they have. The Panthers have made no bones about trying to get a wide receiver 1. They are in on absolutely every receiver available, and we'll get to plenty of them. Receivers like Devontae Adams, McCole Hardman. Big difference between the two. But anyways, we'll get into all of those. Remember, we have more Broncos that could be traded, though. Courtland Sutton could be on the move. The Denver Broncos completely starting fresh with Sean Payton. Is that the best idea? No, probably not. They should probably move on from Sean Payton too, the way this season has gone, but they're not going to. They traded the draft capital for Sean Payton. They are committed to it. I just don't know if he's the right guy for a rebuild, but we'll also see if Kareem Jackson, the safety that the Denver Broncos have, he's in the final year of his deal, as is center Lloyd Cushenberry. He could be on the move as well. And same with Garrett Bowles, the left tackle for the Denver Broncos. He's been there a long time. He's getting frustrated with the lack of winning that the Denver Broncos has done during his tenure. So these are all names that the Denver Broncos could ship out. Jerry Jeudy seems like a lock to be traded. Courtland Sutton, I imagine if they trade Jerry Jeudy, they don't trade Sutton, but I could be surprised. And I don't expect them to trade either of their offensive linemen. Good teams hold on to offensive linemen, but stranger things have happened. And remember, we've already seen some trades go down. Cam Akers was traded to the Minnesota Vikings for a song. Chase Claypool was traded for slightly more than Cam Akers was traded for. Because Cam Akers, it's conditional. Cam Akers needs 500 yards from scrimmage this season for anything to happen. Otherwise, there's no picks involved. At least Chase Claypool, it's a 6th, 7th round swap, just period. Van Jefferson, same thing. 6th, 7th round swap. He goes from the Rams over to the Atlanta Falcons. So he and Chase Claypool in new homes. Chase Claypool in Miami, if I forgot to mention that. We also saw J.C. Jackson traded to the New England Patriots from the Los Angeles Chargers. And then Randy Gregory was going to get traded. He ends up getting cut instead. But it's not just the Denver Broncos that could be sending people away in a trade. Kirk Cousins has been the subject of trade rumors after the terrible start for the Minnesota Vikings. He is in the last year of his deal. He is set to be a free agent. And Kirk Cousins has a no trade and no tag clause in his contract. So a team that trades for Kirk Cousins can't use the franchise tag to keep Kirk Cousins around. They would want to make sure there's a contract in place before the trade happens, or a team like the Jets just using him as a rental for the season till Aaron Rodgers comes back. But Kirk Cousins has to waive his trade clause. Kirk Cousins cannot be traded without his approval. And that's what a no trade clause means. It doesn't mean a player can't be traded. It means they must sign off on it. So we'll see if Kirk Cousins signs off on it. Daniel Hunter, the edge rusher for the Minnesota Vikings, he doesn't have to sign off on a trade, but he also can't be franchise tagged. Danielle Hunter, if he is traded to a new team, it is a pure rental. It's a 1-year deal because after this season, he's going to hit free agency. It is in his contract that Danielle Hunter cannot be franchise tagged by the Vikings or any other team, including the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars rumored to be heavily interested in Danielle Hunter. They need someone opposite Josh Allen. Trayvon Walker is not it, at least not right now. He's a physical freak, so maybe he can develop into it. But right now, Trayvon Walker, not the guy. Kayvon Chasen as the third edge rusher, not working out at all. So the Jaguars sniffing around Danielle Hunter. If the Vikings lose to the Bears this weekend, could see Danielle Hunter, could see Kirk Cousins, either of those guys on the move. Same with Ezra Cleveland, the left guard of the Minnesota Vikings, who is a left tackle. He played left tackle in college, and then he gets drafted to the Vikings. He plays left guard because they needed him as a rookie, and then they go out and draft Christian Darrisaw. So obviously he's going to stick at left guard, even though he wants to play tackle. So he could be on the move to a team that needs tackle. KJ Osborne in the final year of his contract as well, though I don't expect KJ Osborne to be moved for the Vikings. But again, stranger things could happen or have happened. The Jets, obviously, we know that the Jets are in need of a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers out for the year, even if he says he's coming back, even if he is getting ready to debate Travis Kelce, he's not playing this year. So the Jets need a quarterback this year if they want to make the playoffs. Zach Wilson ain't it, so they could be in on Kirk Cousins. At the very least, we know that they are looking to get rid of Mecole Hardman, the $5 million contract, I believe, that Mecole Hardman signed just this offseason. He was going to be a slot receiver, he was going to be a field stretcher, and he was going to play some special teams. But then Randall Cobb ends up passing him on the depth chart. That's an indictment. Even after Aaron Rodgers is no longer the quarterback, Randall Cobb still playing ahead of Mecole Hardman. That's an indictment. And he was beaten out on special teams as well by Xavier Gipson, I believe, if my memory serves me correct. So either way, not good for Mecole Hardman. They are looking to trade him. And Carl Lawson, the edge defender for the New York Jets, came over from the Cincinnati Bengals, tears his Achilles, and has struggled to recover since. But both those players are already rumored to be on the move. Dalvin Cook, Connor McGovern, Mekhi Becton, Dwayne Brown, Jordan Whitehead, Adrian Amos, Quentin Jefferson, Solomon Thomas, Al Woods, and Bryce Huff, all in the final year of their deals as well. The Jets really went in on this run with Aaron Rodgers, and a lot of these players can and likely will come back next year, but rough for the New York Jets. So many free agents next year. And I'm throwing these names around. Maybe Mecole Hardman gets traded. Probably not. A lot of these names that we're going to hear floated around are just going to end up staying with their respective teams. It's just how the NFL works. We hear all these rumors, and then every year we're disappointed when the trade deadline is kind of quiet, though I do expect to see Hunter Renfrow traded from the Raiders. Someone, somewhere can use Hunter Renfrow, and the Raiders clearly have no intention of doing so. He's technically the wide receiver 3, though I think he's getting fewer receptions than even DeAndre Carter at this point. Trey Tucker's playing ahead of him sometimes, so trade Hunter Renfrow. Just free him. He deserves it. I do expect that trade to happen. Don't, as of now, expect Devontae Adams or Josh Jacobs to be traded, though either of them could be. Adams, we all know, is unhappy with losing with the Raiders. Probably going to win this weekend against the New England Patriots, but it's still a mess. Either way, Devontae Adams is stuck in this mess. Speaking of teams that we at least thought were going to be a mess, the Arizona Cardinals, Hollywood Brown, still the subject of trade rumors, and it makes sense. He's in the final year of his deal. The Cardinals are maybe rebuilding, maybe not, because they're going to be outplaying potentially getting Caleb Williams. So we'll see if Hollywood Brown is traded, if they give him an extension. Problem is, Hollywood Brown's going to want a lot of money, and the Cardinals aren't a team that needs to just pay a good, not great wide receiver right now. So don't know what's going to happen there. They could move on from Hollywood Brown. No one's trading for Kyler Murray at this point. I'm sure they want to see him healthy, but he is still part of those rumors that we hear, as is Brian Burns. Brian Burns requested a trade, wants a new deal. Panthers probably should have moved him last year for 2 first-round picks. Instead, they hold on to Brian Burns. They don't extend Brian Burns. They give up all their first-round picks for Bryce Young. And so now the Carolina Panthers are a team in transition. Once again, this is a bad Carolina Panthers team. Though they may say, okay, we're bad. We don't get better by getting rid of Brian Burns, especially if we can't get the 2 first-round picks that we initially could. So Panthers, another team that could be selling at the deadline, but we also know they want to add at the trade deadline. We know they want a wide receiver. Darnell Mooney, another one of those wide receivers that has been mentioned in trade circles. Kendrick Bourne, Juju Smith-Schuster have also been floated out there, but really, the Panthers want a wide receiver 1. There's no wide receiver 1 available. Jerry Jeudy is the best. He's the closest thing, and he's not a wide receiver 1 at all. So until T. Higgins is a free agent next year, if the Bengals don't end up re-signing him or don't franchise tag T. Higgins, Panthers are just stuck as is. A couple of other names that are being floated around at the trade deadline: Chase Young, Montez Sweat for the Washington Commanders. It is assumed that they can only sign one of Chase Young or Montez Sweat. It is unlikely that they are able to pay both dominant edge defenders, and Chase Young is back. He is so back. He looks so good for the Commanders. But Chase Young could be traded ahead instead of just letting him walk in free agency. And Cordell Patterson, another name that we are hearing floated out there as well, could be on the move. He only played 6 snaps for the Atlanta Falcons in his return to the field, though he could just be being eased into this offense. He missed a lot of time early this season. So Cordell Patterson, another name to just keep an eye out for. That will bring us to the injury report, though, and we've got some good news. Austin Eckler is back. He's practicing in full. Austin Eckler, we knew that this was the time for him to return. Told us it was a 99% chance he returns, and he is looking back as hell. Same with Justin Herbert. He's removed from the injury report, even though he's got a broken finger. It's not limiting him in practice, so Justin Herbert is a full go, and thankfully it's on his non-throwing hand, so yeah, it'll impact him taking snaps under center potentially, but shouldn't be a worry for Justin Herbert. So happy to hear that. So happy that Austin Eckler is back. Happy to hear Derek Carr practicing in full with the shoulder injury. He is looking better and better as the weeks go on. Looked like he was going to miss a month. Now Derek Carr plays through it, and he's starting to get healthy. Chris Olave also healthy. He's got that toe injury that he suffered in warmups before their week 5 game. He's upgraded to full. Chris Olave is good to go, as is Mike Evans. Mike Evans doesn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday, and they say, okay, on Friday, we're going to let you open up. We're going to let you sprint. We're going to let you test it. And Mike Evans passes the test. His hamstring is much ado about nothing. He will play for the Detroit Lions, or play against the Detroit Lions. That could be a fun affair. The Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa, with the creamsicle jerseys as well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Got T. Higgins, who is hoping to return. Higgins says it looks promising, says he's here to win, and that it's just a pain tolerance issue at this point. And he was pretty candid that, hey, I'm probably not going to be healthy for the rest of 2023 until I take a couple months off to stop getting hit. I'm probably going to be playing in pain for the rest of the year. But it looks like T. Higgins, officially a game time decision, officially questionable, but T. Higgins trending toward playing. Jordan Addison is full go. He's removed from the injury report. Had that ankle issue pop up earlier in the week. He is good. Speaking of ankles, Odell Beckham is good to go. He practices in full today and is removed from the injury report. And obviously, we say these guys, they're removed from the injury report, they're good to go. They're not fully healthy. No NFL player is fully healthy right now. After that first game, for some guys, after that first snap, that's when the injuries start to set in. That's when the pain starts to set in. And that's the thing about the NFL. 100% of these players are playing through pain. They're not injured, they're hurt. And that is the difference. Speaking of injuries, though, Jeff Wilson has officially been downgraded to doubtful. We thought that Jeff Wilson was going to see his return. He's been practicing all week, recovering from the rib injury and the finger injury. Couldn't protect himself. Was rumored to be returning with Devon Achane going on injured reserve. Then it started to sound like, okay, well, Jeff Wilson, yeah, if he's going to be on a pitch count, not fully back yet. Now it sounds like there's going to be no pitch count because he is going to be out. Big game from Raheem Mostert coming up ahead. Zay Jones also expected to be out for the Jacksonville Jaguars, though the Jags do get Devon Hamilton back off of injured reserve, and they get Dewan Smoot back as well, coming off the Achilles tear and the PUP list. So Jaguars get some reinforcements, just no Zay Jones yet. Deshaun Watson going to be out this week, and it's a curious case with Deshaun Watson because we know there's no structural damage, or at least that's what we've been told. We know he was cleared to play against the Baltimore Ravens, but sat out. So what's going on with Deshaun Watson? I have no idea because he played pretty good against the Tennessee Titans too. Weird. But Cleveland deserves it. Cleveland absolutely deserves it. Deshaun Watson going to be out this week. Browns probably going to lose with PJ Walker in the starting lineup. He is starting over Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They think that the veteran who's played a little bit more better than throwing the rookie DTR into the fire. And they really did him no favors in that game that he started against the Baltimore Ravens. It was just kind of fighting for his life. Browns should have their running back, Jerome Ford. Sounds like his knee that he missed time earlier in the week with is not a concern. He's going to play against the 49ers. Though Joel Bitonio, the starting left guard for the Browns, will not. Ends a 102-game starting streak. Hate to see it. Hate to see an Iron Man streak go down like that, but the Browns will be without their left guard, Joel Bitonio. Giants will be without Daniel Jones. He has the neck injury that we talked about. He isn't going to play this week. The scans apparently came back clean. Daniel Jones is apparently just sore. It's not a long-term injury, but we've also seen Daniel Jones with the neck injury previously, so we'll keep you updated there. If he's practicing next week, that'll be a good sign. Either way, looking like it's going to be Tyrod Taylor against his former team, the Buffalo Bills, in a little bit of a revenge game. He should have Saquon Barkley back this weekend, but Saquon Barkley limited once again in practice. He's limited this entire week. So Saquon Barkley not operating at 100%. You probably have to start him given buys in the shape of the running back position right now if he plays, but make sure you temper expectations for Saquon Barkley coming off the high ankle sprain. He is not 100% healthy, could be on a pitch count, and the snaps that he does play, he's not going to have his full explosive ability. He's pretty severely taped up on his ankle. Darren Waller is officially questionable. He returned to practice on Thursday. He's limited on Friday, so we do expect to see Darren Waller play through the groin injury, but officially questionable, unlike Wan'Dale Robinson, who is cleared. Wan'Dale Robinson misses Wednesday, limited on Thursday, practices in full on Friday. They're just being careful with that surgically repaired knee that he has. Wan'Dale Robinson, good to go. Miles Sanders, not good to go. Miles Sanders is out with the shoulder injury. We're going to see plenty of Chuba Hubbard this weekend for the Carolina Panthers. No Tank Dell for the Houston Texans. He's going to be out with a concussion. So expect to see plenty of Robert Woods and Nico Collins. Roschon Johnson going to be out with a concussion. We thought because he suffered the concussion on Thursday that he had a chance to play this weekend. Turns out not enough time for him to recover. Doesn't follow the Luke Musgrave path. Roschon Johnson going to be out. Khalil Herbert, we already knew he was going to be out. Travis Homer going to be out. So it's going to be Dante Foreman, who had 5 carries in week 1 and hasn't played since. And Darrington Evans, the former Bears draft pick who just recently re-signed to the team, has spent past couple years as a journeyman. So Dante Foreman bell cow. Here we go. It's coming. No Treylon Burks this weekend, no Darius Slay or Jalen Carter for the Eagles, and no Quez Watkins either. So Olamide Zaccheaus is going to be that wide receiver 3 for the Eagles. Quez Watkins hasn't had the best season so far. So anyways, moving on. Sam LaPorta pops up on the injury report. Don't love that. He does not practice with a calf injury on Thursday. Injury apparently happened against the Panthers. Flares up at the end of Wednesday practice, so he leaves a little bit early. Thursday doesn't practice. Friday, he walks through. It's not a full practice for the Detroit Lions, but he does the walkthrough. Plan is to play, but keep an eye. If you got Sam LaPorta in your starting lineup, keep an eye out on Saturday, on Sunday afternoon, morning to see what the reports are if Sam LaPorta is playing or not. Jahmyr Gibbs will not be playing. Neither will Brian Branch or left guard Jonah Jackson. They are all expected to miss. So another heavy game of David Montgomery ahead with Craig Reynolds as the RB2. Lions also lost Bam Knight for the season. He suffers a season-ending shoulder injury, but they should get Amon-Ra St. Brown back. He is practicing in full with an abdomen injury that he missed last week with. And CJ Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, expects to be back for the Detroit Lions in the playoffs. And it's just so nice that the Lions are confident that they will be heading to the playoffs. It's a beautiful thing. We've also heard that Brad Holmes, general manager of the Detroit Lions, has come out and stated that Jared Goff is not a bridge quarterback. He is the guy. He never believed that Jared Goff was a bridge quarterback. And I don't know if that's true or not. They probably hoped that Jared Goff would be the quarterback when they traded for him. But obviously the 2 first-round picks made it like, okay, well, let's see how Jared Goff recovers from his time with the Rams. Jared Goff, good to go. Gonna get a contract for the Detroit Lions. Probably not during the season. Lions typically don't make big contract extensions during the season unless it's early in the season and it's one that was already close to begin with. I believe that happened with Taylor Decker a couple years ago. But Jared Goff, gonna be entering the final year of his deal in 2024. He'll get an extension this offseason. Lions will not be in the hunt for a quarterback. No Caleb Williams, obviously. They're not picking that high. Not picking high enough to get Drake May as well. And Shedeur Sanders, not in it for the Detroit Lions, though. The Falcons. Are the Falcons in on Shedeur Sanders? Social media lost their minds when it was reported that Rich Sanders, a scout for the Atlanta Falcons, said, "We ain't going back unless we bring in the Sanders boys to the A." Both of them. And that quote goes viral. But that's the problem with these aggregator accounts. The Duvie Klymans, the NFL Rookie Watch, the aggregator accounts will strip out the context because that's not actually what the Falcon scout said. Those were his words. He used them. He spoke them, but they were actually the words of Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, if you watch the video, says, "Hey, tell the camera what I told you." And then he repeats what Deion Sanders told him. And that's it. So the Falcons have not committed to drafting Shedeur Sanders. They have not committed to drafting Shiloh is the other one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but either way, the Falcons have not committed. This is much ado about nothing. Just a scout going to visit the Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders just taking it as an opportunity for social media. He's really, really good at social media. Deion Sanders, great coach as well. I'm excited to see more of Deion Sanders. Other news around the NFL, the Panthers are simplifying the offense for Bryce Young. They're going to use less words in the play call. They're going to be requiring him to maybe not set the protection as much. He's going to be wearing a wristband. And I just find it interesting. And obviously, the Panthers are not a good football team. They have not set Bryce Young up to succeed. But it's interesting that all the hype was about Bryce Young, the mental processor. Bryce Young, he did so well on this test. Oh, David Tepper now loves Bryce Young, even though it was clear that Frank Reich and the quarterback coach Josh McCown clearly love CJ Stroud. Nah, we're going to go with Bryce Young because he's a processor. And now the processing is not fast enough, and he's not able to do all of these things, and the Panthers are disappointed. And I believe it'll be fine. The Panthers are asking him to do too much with too little, but should have drafted CJ Stroud. We said it all along. Just proven once again to be true. And speaking of trading up for CJ Stroud. The Raiders actually tried to trade up for CJ Stroud, weren't able to get a deal done, but at least we know the Raiders had the right idea. They knew who quarterback one was. CJ Stroud over Bryce Young. Raiders don't know a whole lot else, but at least they knew that. And speaking of the Raiders, who will face the New England Patriots this weekend, probably get a win over the New England Patriots, make Bill Belichick's hot seat even hotter. We are hearing that the Patriots could turn to Will Grier if Mac Jones continues to struggle and heads to the bench. Will Grier over Bailey Zappi, who's the backup for the Patriots right now. I don't know about any of that, but we are hearing some whispers that Malik Cunningham is trending towards seeing some snaps, whether that's as a wide receiver, because Juju's going to be out this week, as well as Pop Douglas, Demario Douglas, going to be out this week. So I don't know. Could we see Will Grier starting for the New England Patriots? Could we see Malik Cunningham at quarterback for the New England Patriots? Whatever it is, I doubt we're going to see Bill Belichick for the New England Patriots in 2024.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.